Welcome back to Manga Weekly, Week 2. As we all know, love is a beautiful thing, and love is all about misunderstandings. Starting off this week as a smaller manga is Kaneko's Life as an Assassin. It's by the same author as Suzure Children, and whether or not you liked it, this manga is pretty funny. Only 3 chapters out now, pretty short, but it's filled with nothing but mom joke puns. Now, onto the real first manga of the week, and it's Goku Fushito, or The Way of the House Husband. Think the Yakuza series, except it's Yakuza 0, where he's not in the Yakuza anymore, and now he has a wife. This series is categorized by the fact that no one really understands what he's saying, and the fact that he is so piss terrifying. It's mainly a case of somebody else playing the straight man to his normal everyday occurrences. If this is something where you like seeing a guy treating buying a magical girl DVD like a drug deal and getting punched by his embarrassed wife, this is something I'd recommend to you. As of now, there are 17 chapters out. Next is Yoi 500 no Sukusho Dragon Iranaki Giannetti, or a weak 5,000-year-old herbivore dragon stuck with the title Dragon of Evil. Oh dear, this sacrifice just won't listen. The biggest misunderstanding of all is coming from the fact that the little girl, along with everyone else, seems to think that our friendly herbivore dragon is an all-powerful dragon that has already made the Demon King his plaything, and is only in the army for shits and giggles. The main thing about this manga is you have this dragon who is trying to bluff his way through all these situations and trying to keep the peace with his blood-crazed worshiper girl. The whole comedy aspect of this manga comes from the fact that this dragon has no magical power whatsoever, and it's all coming from the girl. And the level of bluffing he tries to do is equivalent of that of Ainzo Gal. As of now, there are 8 chapters out. Next is our main feature, Looking Up to You. In this pure love story that's probably going to turn into Gentle Femdom, since we already have role reversal, we have a small little boy, tall, cool-looking girl, and the starts of their relationship. This is recently new, and the only reason that it's on the list is because of how much potential it has. The story itself is very heartwarming, and the artwork in it is very lovely, and it will make fun of shoujo tropes occasionally. This is something that I think is going to be one of the better mangas out there for the next few months, just because it's a genre and has tags that really aren't used a lot. Next is the story of an Oni-san who wants to keep a high school boy. The misunderstanding is that living together with someone is challenging and leads to lots of misunderstandings. The basic synopsis, since MangaDex doesn't have one, is that manga parents continue to compete for the title of worst parents and leave their son with debt and run away. Luckily, an Oni-san who lives next door pays off the boy's debt and takes him in. The only problem is she is totally obsessed with him and would be content to let him do nothing all day if it meant that she could just take care of him. The description on MangaDex doesn't do it justice, along with a few other sites, but this is the best I could come up with. I'd also like to point that while there is an Eki tag for this, it's mainly because Miss Oni-san has big boobs, and they do a few jokes about that. Otherwise, there are very few Eki moments and more just embarrassing situations. The other good thing about this is that it's a slice of life that has actual character progression to keep the novelty from wearing off, since both characters continually move forward both in their relationship and in their development. So the novelty won't wear off for quite some time. Currently, there are 53 chapters, with the chapters being relatively short. Next, by the same author, One Nun A Gumi no Monster. Although this is by the same author as the last manga, this has a completely different tone. More or less, a man who gives 0 craps and only wants to do his job works for a school. He gets assigned to the most evil class and then just does his job. What makes this story funny is the events around him are so interesting, and while most manga MCs would try and step in and solve all the problems, This MC doesn't care and just wants to do his job as a teacher. And he does this to the confusion of everyone around him. This is a comedy through and through. And if you want a straight-faced MC that doesn't take shit from anyone, I'd recommend this to you. As of now, there are 10 chapters out. Finally, we have Oni no You Shall Love Calm, a shonen with a misunderstood delinquent who isn't all that bad. The girl he ends up falling in love with is Aoni, and through some events, he gets tasked by keeping away any marriage partners because her dear old dad can't stand the idea of his precious daughter getting stolen away from him and married. Her father just happens to be King Enma, the ruler of the other world. While he tries to keep away potential suitors, he tries to make friends because he has a scary face and is known as the Red Oni. Currently, there are 4 chapters out of this, and it's continuing to be a shonen series, slice of life. There's probably going to be romance down the line. But just from what I've seen, it's very funny, and hence why it made the list. Bonus: Ijosha no E. Now, this is a yandere story that the yandere is the sole focus of the series and not just an afterthought or side character. Many people don't like this series because of the MC, but this is mainly due to them not realizing that the MC was in elementary and high school when all the yandere shit happened, and realizing that kids would be scared shitless of this stuff. The main appeal of this series is that there's about 1/2 volumes setting up the background before a time skip where we get to see the real objective of the story before change in focus again. So if you read this, expect every volume to have a change in general focus and just general everything that's happening. Which, if you're going to read this, expect a change in focus probably in every chapter. If you're going to read this, expect a change in focus every volume, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Currently there are 23 chapters, with chapters coming out each week.